The next day, we were playing doubles, and during a break, as we were drinking Mafalda's lemonades, he put his free arm around me, and then gently squeezed his thumb and forefingers into my shoulder, in imitation of a friendly hug massage. The whole thing very chummy, but I was so spellbound that I wrenched myself free from his touch, because a moment longer and I would have slackened like one of those tiny wooden toys whose gimp-legged body collapses as soon as the mainsprings are touched. Taken aback, he apologized and asked if he had pressed a nerve or something. He hadn't meant to hurt me. He must have felt thoroughly mortified if he suspected he had either hurt me or touched me the wrong way. The last thing I wanted was to discourage him. Still, I blurted something like, "It didn't hurt me, it didn't hurt," and would have dropped the matter there. But I sensed that if it wasn't pain that had prompted such a reaction, what other explanation could account for my shrugging him off so brusquely in front of my friends? So I mimicked the face of someone trying very hard, but failing, to smother a grimace of pain. It never occurred to me that what had totally panicked me when he touched me was exactly what startles virgins on being touched for the first time by the person they desire. He stirs nerves in them they never knew existed, and that produce far more disturbing pleasures than they are used to on their own. He still seemed surprised by my reaction, but gave every sign of believing in, as I of concealing the pain around my shoulder. It was his way of letting me off the hook and of pretending he wasn't in the least bit aware of any nuance in my reaction. Knowing, as I later came to learn, how thoroughly trenchant was his ability to sort contradictory signals, I have no doubt that he must have already suspected something. Here, let me make it better. He was testing me and proceeded to massage my shoulder. "Relax," he said in front of the others, "but I'm relaxing. You're as stiff as this bench. Feel this," he said to Marcia, one of the girls closest to us. "It's all knots." I felt her hands on my back. "Here," he ordered, pressing her flattened palm hard against my back. "Feel it? He should relax more," he said. "You should relax more," she repeated. Perhaps in this, as with everything else, because I didn't know how to speak in code, I didn't know how to speak at all. I felt like a deaf and dumb person who can't even use sign language. I stammered all manner of things so as not to speak my mind. That was the extent of my code. So long as I had breath to put words in my mouth, I could more or less carry it off. Otherwise, the silence between us would probably give me away. Which was why anything, even the most blurred nonsense, was preferable to silence. Silence would expose me. But what was certain to expose me even more was my struggle to overcome it in front of others. The despair aimed at myself must have given my features something bordering on impatience and unspoken rage. That he might have mistaken these as aimed at him never crossed my mind. Maybe it was for similar reasons that I would look away each time he looked at me, to conceal the strain on my timidity, that he might have found my avoidance offensive and retaliated with a hostile glance from time to time never crossed my mind either. What I hoped he hadn't noticed in my overreaction to his grip was something else. Before shirking off his arm, I knew I had yielded to his hand and had almost leaned into it, as if to say, as I heard the adults so often say when someone happened to massage their shoulders while passing behind them, "Don't stop." Had he noticed I was ready not just to yield but to mold into his body? This was the feeling I took to my diary that night as well. I called it the swoon. Why had I swooned? And could it happen so easily? Just let him touch me somewhere I'd totally go limp and billess. Was this what people meant by butter melting? And why didn't I show him how like butter I was? Because I was afraid of what might happen then? Or was I afraid that he would have laughed at me? told everyone or ignored the whole thing on the pretext I was too young to know what I was doing? Or was it because if he so much as suspected, and anyone who suspected it would of necessity be on the same wavelength, he might be tempted to act on it? Did I want him to act, or would I prefer a lifetime of longing provided we both kept this little ping pong game going? Not knowing. Just be quiet, say nothing, and if you can't say yes, don't say no. Say it later. Is this why people say maybe when they mean yes, but hope you'll think it no, and all they really mean is please just ask me once more, and once more after that? I look back to that summer and can't believe that despite every one of my efforts to live with the fire and the swoon, life still granted wonderful moments. Italy, summer. The noise of the cicadas in the early afternoon, my room, his room, our balcony that shut the whole world out, the soft wind trailing exhalations from our garden up the stairs to my bedroom. The summer I learned to love fishing because he did, to love jogging because he did, to love octopus, Heraclitus, Tristan. The summer I'd hear a bird sing, smell a plant, or feel the mist rise from under my feet on warm sunny days, and because my senses were always on alert, would automatically find them rushing to him. I could have denied so many things that I longed to touch his knees and wrists when he glistened in the sun with that vicious sheen I've seen in so very few, that I loved how his white tennis shorts seems perpetually stained by the color of clay, which as the weeks wore on became the color of his skin, that his hair, turning blonder every day, caught the sun before the sun was completely out in the morning, that his billowy blue shirt, becoming ever more billowy when he wore it on gusty days on the patio by the pool, promised to harbor a scent of skin and sweat that made me hard just thinking about it. All this I could have denied, and believed my denials.